Today on NewsWatch, the race to the White House kicks into high gear. See what's happening with Trump and Clinton as they enter the final stretch of this campaign season. Plus, why the conservative state of Texas may join the marijuana marketplace, but could it be more trouble than it's worth? And her pain landed her in prison. Find out how God rescued this woman and gave her a new mission to help other prisoners break free. Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Charlene Aaron. In an election year, Labor Day traditionally marks the final stretch of the presidential race. Monday was no exception. Both Clinton and Trump spent the holiday visiting key battleground states, trying to gain momentum for their campaigns. Caitlin Burke has the story.
Both the Republican and Democratic presidential nominees hit the campaign trail Monday in the hotly contested battleground state of Ohio. In a rare opportunity for the media, Clinton held a news conference on her plane.
Hey guys! Hi!
Clinton has been repeatedly criticized for not holding a press conference in more than 270 days. But Monday, she answered questions from the media, including ones on foreign diplomacy, her health, and of course the ongoing drama surrounding the investigation into her time as Secretary of State and possible links to her family's foundation.
The State Department has said there's absolutely no evidence of any kind of external influence.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump spent some of his time in Ohio talking again about his immigration policy.
I'm not ruling out anything. No, I'm not getting a pathway to legal status. No, to become a citizen, you're going to have to go out and come back in.
Both campaigns also took a moment to get in a few jabs at their opponent. This from Clinton when she was overcome by a coughing fit.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
In response, Trump's campaign manager Kellyanne Conway took to Twitter, mocking Clinton by saying, "Must be allergic to the media. Finally spent a minute with them." But Clinton faces more serious problems back in Washington. More of her State Department records will be released in the coming weeks as lawmakers question if major contributors to the Clinton Foundation received special access to the State Department while Clinton was Secretary of State. The release of some emails and records has already hurt her in the polls, the latest numbers showing a much closer race, basically a dead heat. Although state polls indicate she still seems to hold a clear lead in the Electoral College. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Conservative icon and political activist Phyllis Schlafly died Monday at 92. She was known for working to protect the family through founding the Eagle Forum and fighting the equal rights amendments of the 1970s. One of the last interviews she did was with CBN at the Republican National Convention, where she told us why she supports Donald Trump.
I think I was the first one to endorse him, and I thought he was the best man for the job.
Schlafly also told CBN's David Brody why it's so important for Americans to get involved with politics.
What does an event like this mean to you exactly?
I've been to every convention since 1952, and I believe in political action because that's how we make democracy work. And so I encourage people to go and to participate, and I enjoy them.
The Eagle Forum released a statement on Schlafly saying her focus from her earliest days until her final ones was protecting the family, which she understood as the building block of life. She recognized America as the greatest political embodiment of those values. Ralph Reed of the Faith and Freedom Coalition praised Schlafly, saying her influence on modern American history is hard to overestimate. She transformed the Republican Party into an unapologetically pro-life institution. President Obama says the United States will work with allies to toughen sanctions on North Korea. That comes after the regime's latest ballistic missile launches Monday. Obama says the launches were provocative, but he also says there is room for dialogue if North Korea changes direction. His comments come after he met with South Korea's president today. Meanwhile, North Korea just released this video allegedly showing their missile test. South Korean and Japanese officials say the missiles traveled about 600 miles before landing in the Sea of Japan. Well, leaders from 20 nations have just wrapped up a historic summit in China. While economic issues and climate change top the agenda, human rights and religious freedom were barely mentioned. Meng Fei Li has more.
Hangzhou, The capital city of Zhejiang province welcomed leaders worldwide for the first economic summit in China. Chinese President Xi Jinping was pleased to host the gathering. It came at a time when the growing number of Chinese worry about the future of their economy.
As we have seen this year, both exports and imports are declining. And this is going to be a trouble for China because it, in the past, had an export-dependent economy. Now it's more dependent on internal investment, but it really needs money from the outside. And so it needs to sell stuff.
President Obama and other Western leaders are hoping to deliver. At the summit, Obama made it clear he will push for ratification of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement before his presidency ends. Both leaders agree TPP will be advantageous to their countries.
And that includes high-standard trade agreements that actually benefit the middle class, like the TPP. That includes working together to abstain from unfair currency practices and address corruption and global tax evasion.
Also of concern for the United States, Chinese moves in the South China Sea. A recent international court ruling favored Philippines' territorial claims over those of Beijing. American defense officials are worried over advancements in China's military capabilities. And human rights activists were disappointed that religious freedom and human rights were not discussed. Just before the gathering, some American activists met at the White House with National Security Advisor Susan Rice. They wanted President Obama to confront the Chinese president over what they say is the country's worst human rights crisis since the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown. China aides Bob Fu was among the activists attending the White House meeting.
In the past 2 years, over 2,000 crosses of the over 2,000 churches were forcefully demolished, and a number of Christians were beaten up, a number of pastors were even being arrested, and some were even sentenced to 14 and 12 years.
However, President Obama said religious freedom issues were discussed in a clear, candid, and direct, constructive way. Although economic issues dominated the agenda, China and the United States announced formal ratification of the Paris Agreement on climate change. The agreement curbs carbon emissions.
As two leading nations, we should manage and control our differences in a constructive manner. We should make a good use of new methods, including comprehensive observation and big data for climate change, and deepen research on the science of climate change.
Despite the climate change agreement, many issues of a disagreement between China and the United States remain. Once again, climate change, trade, and wealth appear far more important than human rights, religious freedom, territorial claims, and security issues. Mengfei Li for CBN News.
President Obama defended football player Colin Kaepernick on Monday during that G20 summit in China. Obama said Kaepernick has the right to refuse to stand for the national anthem before his NFL games.
He's exercising his constitutional right to make a statement. I don't doubt his sincerity based on what I've heard. If nothing else, what he's done is he's generated more conversation around some topics that need to be talked about.
Obama says Kaepernick's decision to sit out during the national anthem was messy, but it's, quote, the way democracy works. Coming up, oil prices have dropped in recent years. Now some Texans are saying it's the perfect time to get high by legalizing marijuana. The low price of oil has been great at the gas pump, but it's been devastating for budgets of oil-rich states like Texas. Even so, one industry there sees it as an opportunity, and supporters of legalizing marijuana argue that it could be the state's next big moneymaker.
States that depend on energy revenue never predicted oil prices would go below $30 a barrel, or worse, stay at these record levels. Several states like Alaska and Louisiana have even seen credit ratings downgraded. Texas, another major oil producer, has been able to balance its budget thanks to a more diverse economy. Experts, however, say a state like Texas can only weather this economic storm for so long. One burgeoning industry taking notice of this problem is offering a solution.
Creating a new marijuana industry in Texas brings more revenue and taxes with it. Whether it's cultivation or manufacturing or production, there's a lot of opportunity for money to be spent and for the government to collect it. And the good thing is this industry knows that it's going to be taxed and they welcome it.
Texas lawmakers have fended off attempts to legalize marijuana for years. But last year they passed a state law allowing for very limited use of cannabis oil or marijuana for patients suffering from seizures or epilepsy. Now advocates for legalizing marijuana say it's only a matter of time before more legislation gets through.
I think that we have tremendous opportunity to improve our economy, to improve our public safety, and to make a healthier Texas. And all kinds of marijuana policy reforms will help us get there.
According to the Marijuana Business Fact Book, the legalized weed industry could pump as much as $44 billion a year into the national economy by the end of 2020.
We're eager to see that opportunity seized in this state. We just have to study it, we have to understand it a little bit better, and then go show lawmakers, this is the real opportunity that we have.
A majority of conservative lawmakers aren't quite as optimistic. Governor Greg Abbott says Texas won't legalize marijuana as long as he's in office, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick opposes it as well. Physicians agree with that position.
Why would we legalize something we know is so incredibly bad for you?
Dr. Harold Urschel works at EnterHealth, a drug and alcohol rehab center in Dallas. He says the notion that marijuana can be safe simply isn't true.
And we see people here at EnterHealth all the time on marijuana. I mean, probably a good 40% of our addicts are either primary marijuana or have it as an important part of, say, their primary alcohol, but they also are using marijuana.
Besides obvious side effects such as slow reaction time, change in depth perception, and the inability to make quick decisions, Urschel says marijuana can pose significant health risks.
Marijuana, when you're smoking it, is 4 times more carcinogenic than a cigarette. So the risk of lung cancer is 4 times greater with marijuana than a cigarette.
The state's powerful Sheriff's Association is also taking a stand, saying it doesn't support making a gateway drug legal. Advocates for legalization argue proper marijuana legislation, like decriminalization, would actually free up cops to focus on more significant crime.
There's a law we've been considering that would remove jail time for a small possession of marijuana and replace it with a simple fine. We find that 88% of serious crimes in Texas went unsolved in 2012. If we take cops away from having to worry about petty crimes and let them focus on the real things that matter, I think people support that.
Dr. G.M. Cox has led a number of Texas police departments, and he disagrees, saying one unintended consequence would be an increase in policing.
Just because something's legalized doesn't mean enforcement's going to go away.
He compares it to alcohol use.
We already have officers that have to enforce alcohol consumption. The results of alcohol consumption is what we call public intoxication. Many times it bleeds over into domestic violence and disorderly conduct. So those officers are still doing that, but they're just not enforcing whether you have that beer legally.
Cox also points out that the number of people driving under the influence would increase significantly. Marijuana affects drivers much like alcohol, but there's a major difference on how long it stays in your system.
The important difference between marijuana and alcohol is this. Alcohol stays in your brain for about 12 to 18 hours. Marijuana stays in your brain for between 7 days to 6 weeks.
Still, even in conservative Texas, there are signs of shifting opinions. One bill passed last year allows cannabis oil in the treatment of epilepsy patients. Supporters hope to take the conversation further, but face a unified team wanting to shut down any momentum. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Dallas, Texas.
Up next, 2 ex-cons see their dream become a reality after 20 years in the making. Find out how they're helping people to transition out of prison and rebuild their lives. Wendy Hatcher is a British woman who moved to the United States from London and spent 30 years devoted to prison ministry. Her example inspired 2 people she once discipled behind bars to follow in her footsteps. I recently traveled to Jackson, Mississippi to hear their remarkable story. At the young age of 9, tragedy struck the family of Pauline Rogers.
I watched my mother, in self-defense, of course, kill my father. But even in self-defense, it still was a traumatic experience.
Memories from that painful night haunted her for years.
That's all I could remember, was the gunshot, that sound, and I would go to bed sometimes at night hearing that sound. And of course, my mother had to be taken to jail.
Time behind bars would eventually be her fate as Rogers turned to shoplifting. At first, it was a way to support her siblings, but it soon turned into a lifestyle of crime.
I just kept the process going with stealing. You know, some of it, all of it was not to benefit my siblings and caretaking. I was reaping benefits because I dressed good, I smelled good, and, you know, shoplifting afforded me that. Landed me in prison for shoplifting. And I had a 6-year sentence. I stayed in prison 3 years.
While in prison, Pauline cried out to God and became a Christian, serving as an assistant to the chaplain. Shortly after getting out, she met and married Frederick, who also had a criminal past.
I caught an armed robbery case, me and 3 other guys. At the time, I was sentenced to 30 years in Mississippi State Penitentiary at the age of 15. At the age of 16, I was in prison.
8 years into his sentence, Frederick gave his life to Jesus Christ.
I made a promise to him 26 years ago that I would serve him.
Now ordained ministers, the Rogers aim to keep that promise by serving other ex-offenders. Pauline and her husband recently opened the home behind me for women who are coming out of prison. It's a home that honors the woman who was a mentor to Pauline when she was behind bars. In 1954, Wendy Hatcher, a British citizen and wife of an American military officer, left London for her new home in Jackson, Mississippi. A devout Christian, Hatcher entered prison ministry, becoming the first female chaplain in the state's Department of Corrections. Through Bible studies and counseling sessions, Chaplain Hatcher ministered to hundreds of inmates, including Pauline and Frederick.
She simply loved. She didn't see color. Not just with me, with everybody that she served. I mean, some of the men that she was up against, these were criminals, rapists, murderers, thieves, molesters, you name it. But she had no fear. She just exemplified more of who Christ was in her than she did with the color of their skin, their size, their crime. None of that was a factor.
That love played a huge role in their lives.
The first birthday cake I ever had, Miss Hatcher did it.
Hatcher also risked her career by giving Pauline a place to stay after her time in prison.
I didn't want to go back to the environment that I had left Miss Hatcher against MDOC rules and policies. Opened her home, and I lived with her until I got married.
More than 20 years have passed since Pauline and Frederick walked out of prison. They know the hardships of starting over after serving time and dreamed of helping others like them transition back into society.
I think that in order for people who have been incarcerated to come out of prison and really have a fair chance, they have to be surrounded around positive people and positive things. And it's our way of giving back.
And it's been years, 20-something years of telling her, our vision, we wanted to do this. And she was, oh, honey, I hope I live to see it.
On June 18th, they turned their dream into reality by opening the Wendy Hatcher Transitional Home, a place for female ex-offenders to receive necessary support and healing. Chaplain Hatcher joined them for the special ribbon-cutting ceremony. The Rogers say dedicating the home to Hatcher allows them to honor the woman who gave them hope and direction.
I wanted her to never forget. I wanted this state to never forget. I wanted to never forget the impact that she had on my life.
Hatcher, now 83, writes about her experiences in Time Served, the Wendy Hatcher story. In it, she says, I feel greatly honored to have my name on a home that will continue to nurture those in need long after I am gone from this earth. Frederick and Pauline Rogers are grateful to be a part of that legacy. Just want to also point out that Pauline and Fred also host a camp for children whose parents are incarcerated. So they are great people who are doing great work, just like Wendy Hatcher. Stay with us. We'll be right back. CBN Canada is spreading the gospel through Superbook to kids in Ontario. Volunteers, staffers, and a local Ontario church teamed together to present the Superbook program to over 200 children. The kids and their parents took part at the outreach event where they worshiped the Lord and watched a screening of Superbook. The kids also were able to leave with their own Superbook as well as a salvation poem. 42 children ended up committing their lives to Jesus. You can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. And that's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you join us next time. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you.